Hey, what's up everybody? This is FreeThinkinMike here. This is going to be an introduction video I'm going to do here just to kind of give you a background on where I come from in terms of religion. I was brought up as a Christian, as a lot of people were. I went to a United Methodist church for most of my childhood until I was about maybe 19 or 20. I kind of stopped going. Not because I was necessarily an atheist all of a sudden, but I was working a lot, just didn't have time to do it, and worked a lot of Sundays, so just like, I don't have time. It was kind of an excuse to, I had to work, so tell my parents, hey, I can't come because I have to work, and I did. So I wasn't lying, it's just, I was kind of happy, like, yes, I don't have to go. But thing about it is I have 12 years perfect attendance in Sunday school. My parents thought it was pretty important for me to go to Sunday school all the time and have perfect attendance in it. My parents thought it was going to help me get into a good college or something. I don't know, maybe Liberty University or some religious school, but never really went to college much. Little community college, that was about it. So, whatever, but I don't resent my parents for it or anything. I mean, for the most part, church, I didn't have a negative experience in church. I wasn't abused by any priest or pastor or anything. Just went along with it, just assumed it was, just part of life. I assumed most people went to church. It seemed like it did. It seemed like people did. And so, when I was younger going to church, I just assumed it was part of life. Like you went to school Monday through Friday, Saturday you got to have a day off, and then Sunday you went to church in the morning, and then whatever. When you're a kid, you don't really doubt that grown-ups could be wrong about stuff. I went to church and everybody's dressed real nice, everybody's real serious, everybody's pretty friendly. So I just assumed, like, well, yeah, this must be true. Why wouldn't it be true, And I think when I was younger, I had doubts, growing up about all of it. Just kind of like, is this, really true? Some of these stories I'm learning in Sunday school, like, that doesn't make sense, I think at the time, though, I didn't think that maybe they were wrong. I just kind of felt that I didn't understand it myself. I was just like, well, obviously they know what's going on. They're older and they seem like everybody believes it pretty well. So it must be true. But so anytime I had doubts, I just chalked it up to me being young and not understanding everything. So I was like, I don't understand it. Must be true. When I was younger, I didn't really understand that there were different religions either. I kind of figured like it was either you went to church or you didn't. As I got older, I realized, like, wait, there's like a bunch of different religions, and some of them are very different than what we believe. And that's when I started having more doubts, especially in my teen years. I go, well, who knows that? I would think to myself, who said that we picked the right religion? How do we know we're right? I forget what year it was. I was watching on HBO. They had the new George Carlin special. I never heard anybody talk about like non-belief in God. So at the end of his special, he starts talking about religion and God, and at first I kind of get, because my dad's sitting there, but luckily I look over and he's fallen asleep. But I remember thinking, like, oh my God, he's gonna start talking, like, bashing religion, like what could he possibly say, And I remember hearing it, and it was like a huge wake-up call almost. I mean, I remember hearing him like start talking about it, and I was scared in a way, because I realized, like, oh my gosh, and all those doubts that I had, like, he's saying them, like, bluntly, like, bam. And it really, like, it shook me. Like, I was kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And, like, I just heard him say that. But it also, at the same time, it just really, had a major effect on me. So if you're not familiar with the clip that I'm talking about, I'll play it right now for you.
Think about it. Religion has actually convinced people that there's an invisible man living in the sky who watches everything you do every minute of every day. And the invisible man has a special list of 10 things he does not want you to do. And if you do any of these 10 things, he has a special place full of fire and smoke and burning and torture and anguish, where he will send you to live and suffer and burn and choke and scream and cry forever and ever till the end of time. But he loves you.
So yeah, so hearing that, after going to church, Sunday school for 12 years straight, it was like, oh my gosh. And that didn't, turn me into an atheist or anything like that. But it was just kind of like the seed planted in me that I was like, oh my gosh, there's other ways of thinking, and they might be, they might be right. Who knows? So as I got older, I still kind of wrestled with it. I still pretend, said I believed everything. I still would, pray or whatever, and just kind of go through the motions. I didn't really go to church much. I'd make an appearance once in a while when I had a day off or something, just to make my parents happy. But yeah. So after that, maybe I'd say probably about 2006 or so. That's when I really decided that no, I don't believe in any of this stuff. I think it's all pretty I think it's all a bunch of nonsense. So it's just, I just felt like I don't need this. I don't need this, and I tried to believe for quite a while, and I can't, you can't choose what you believe. You can't just decide like I'm gonna believe this now. It's not like I'm gonna you know what, I'm gonna be a Muslim now. Fuck it, I'm gonna go and believe it. What do you believe? Okay, I believe it. Yeah, you can't do that. So for the longest times, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, just all the red flags, like all the time, just made me, I mean, just the idea of like the only evidence people have of the existence of God and Jesus and all that is a book. That's all we have, and you have to read the book, and you have to believe it with all your heart, and take Jesus in, and then you're saved, and then everything's cool, and you're gonna go to heaven when you die. Like, all your sins are forgiven. Don't worry. You did something bad, it's cool. Jesus died for you. He did it for you. It's like, I didn't ask for that. I didn't. I don't think that it makes any sense. First of all. And it's a book. It's the Bible. Like, you're supposed to believe it. And the first page gets it wrong. I mean, we know from science that men and women didn't just pop in one day. All the animals weren't just pop 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 pop. That's a whole nother video about evolution and all that. But just the fact that this book, nobody can agree what it means even nowadays. There's still people that debate, like, no, this is literal. This is a poem. This is historical. This is this that's just a metaphor. Like, why would it be such a like confusing thing for people to read? Like, that if God wanted everybody to believe this, what he's telling you in the book, why would it be, such a book that doesn't make any sense, with silly stories, with horrendous things in it, that most Christians overlook the really bad stuff in the Bible and just look at the good stuff. I mean, that's mainly what I remember learning in Sunday school. I didn't learn about, oh yeah, bashing babies against rocks, or don't eat shrimp. And I like, what? How come you didn't teach me that? If I'd have learned that back then, I probably would have changed to be an atheist even quicker. But so that's that, and that's my background on religion and where I come from, and that's that. So